The vast, rugged landscapes of the Peruvian Andes hold secrets whispered on the thin mountain air, secrets that often blend myth, archaeology, and the tantalizing possibility of the unknown. Among these formidable geographical features, a stark, monumental structure stands out, La Puerta de Hayu Marca, known to many as the Gate of the Gods. Located near Lake Titicaca, in the region of Puno, this immense rock carving has captivated researchers, spiritualists, and seekers of ancient mysteries since its supposed discovery in 1996. The official narrative credits José Luis Delgado Mamani, a local mountaineering guide, with stumbling upon the structure. However, the local indigenous Aymara people maintain that its existence has been known and revered for generations, referring to it as the gate to the lands of the gods. Physically, the structure is striking in its simplicity and sheer scale. It is a large, square-cut indentation in a massive red sandstone cliff face, measuring approximately 7 meters high and 7 meters wide. Crucially, within this larger recess, there is a second, smaller niche carved into the stone, resembling a smaller door or keyhole, which measures about 2 meters high. These perfectly finished carvings stand in stark contrast to the surrounding natural roughness of the cliff, suggesting deliberate and precise craftsmanship by an unknown civilization. The primary mystery stems not just from its impressive engineering, but from its apparent function, or lack thereof. Unlike the entrances to fortresses or temples, this door leads nowhere. It is a solid piece of rock, an inexplicable monumental facade carved into the bedrock. Local legends surrounding the gate are rich and varied, providing a compelling layer of ancient cosmology to the site's enigmatic presence. The Aymara people speak of a mythical Stargate, or gateway to other universes. One of the most enduring stories involves an Incan priest king named Amaru Muru. Following the Spanish conquest and the subsequent looting of Incan treasures, Amaru Muru is said to have possessed a sacred golden disc known as the Key of the Seven Rays. Fearing the artifact would fall into Spanish hands, he fled to the mountains of Hayu Marca. Upon reaching the Great Door, he allegedly presented the golden disc to the smaller niche, causing the large door to illuminate and slide open. He then passed through the glowing portal, disappearing to the land of the gods, or land of the ancestors, taking the golden key with him, and thus sealing the gate against intruders. This narrative suggests the gate was not merely a symbol, but a functional interdimensional portal or a highly advanced piece of ancient technology. Archaeological examination of the site remains surprisingly limited. While the area is clearly of immense cultural importance, detailed large-scale excavations have not been carried out to fully understand the context of the carving. Critics often point out the lack of definitive pre-Columbian artifacts immediately adjacent to the gate as a major question mark, while proponents argue that the carving itself is the primary artifact, and its purpose transcends conventional archaeology. Furthermore, the geographical location is significant. Lake Titicaca itself is a cradle of Andean civilization, often cited as the birthplace of the Incan sun god Viracocha. Many other ancient megalithic sites, such as Tiwanaku and Pumapunku, are also found in the vicinity, suggesting this region was a nexus of ancient power, knowledge, and perhaps unique technological application. The very presence of the Hayu Marca Gate, therefore, ties into a much broader, complex tapestry of high-altitude pre-Incan belief systems and achievements that continue to defy modern explanation.
The mystical allure of the Hayu Marca gate is amplified by numerous reports of anomalous sensory experiences that visitors claim to encounter while standing near the rock face. These accounts are diverse but frequently share common themes that defy logical explanation. Many visitors speak of intense feelings of vertigo, a profound and inexplicable sense of fear or reverence, or the sudden onset of dizziness when they place their hands into the smaller keyhole-like niche. Others describe hearing faint, rhythmic humming or deep, resonant vibrations emanating from within the solid rock, particularly during twilight hours or under a full moon. These anecdotal reports suggest that the site might be a locus for powerful, perhaps electromagnetic, energy fields, lending credence to the local belief that the gate remains actively charged or awaiting its next activation. Adding another layer to the enigma are the claims regarding the visual and acoustic properties of the area. Some individuals report vivid hallucinations or temporal shifts, seeing the stars move unnaturally fast or perceiving the rock face shimmer and lose its solid appearance for fleeting moments. The Aymara shamans who regularly perform ceremonies at the site believe the larger recess acts as a cosmic mirror, capable of reflecting the cosmos and allowing those with clear minds to glimpse the past or the future. They utilize the small recess, the supposed keyhole, as a focus point for meditation, asserting it functions as a portal for communication with the Apus, mountain spirits and ancestral beings dwelling in other dimensions. Whether psychological, energetic, or genuinely supernatural, the consistency of these reports contributes significantly to the site's reputation as a powerful, sacred, and potentially dangerous place. The potential connection between Hayu Marca and other prominent South American megalithic sites cannot be ignored. The precision of the cut and the material, red sandstone, bears striking, if perhaps coincidental, resemblance to construction techniques seen at Pumapunku, located on the Bolivian side of Lake Titicaca. The perfectly planed faces and sharp geometric angles at Hayu Marca suggest a shared, sophisticated understanding of stonework that predates the Inca Empire. This raises the critical archaeological question: did the civilization responsible for carving the gate also contribute to the construction of other Titicaca Basin marvels? If the gate was indeed a piece of advanced technology, it might suggest a continent-wide network or an understanding of physics and cosmology far beyond what is commonly attributed to ancient Andean cultures. Researchers theorize that these sites might be intentionally aligned along geodetic or energetic lines, possibly marking a continental grid system used for communication or energy transmission, a system to which the Gate of the Gods would be a critical access point. Furthermore, theories linking Hayu Marca to the global phenomenon of stargates and interdimensional travel are increasingly popular. Unlike simple religious iconography, the legends insist on a physical opening and passage through the rock, aligning the site with similar global myths of solid rock doorways and otherworldly entrances. The golden disc, the alleged key, parallels artifacts described in other ancient cultures as tools for opening such portals. This has led to non-traditional historians and fringe theorists to posit that the site is evidence of ancient alien intervention or the legacy of a highly advanced lost civilization like Atlantis or Mu, who possessed the technology to manipulate space and time. The sheer effort involved in carving a massive door that goes nowhere strongly supports the argument that its purpose was conceptual or, more controversially, functional in a way modern science is only beginning to comprehend. The gate stands as a silent challenge, urging us to reconsider the limitations we place on the technical capabilities of our distant ancestors.
The true function of the smaller, central niche carved into the Gate of the Gods remains one of its most persistent and perplexing questions. While the surrounding large recess is widely theorized to be the frame of the portal itself, The 2-meter-high inner cutout appears to be deliberately engineered for interaction. Local and esoteric theories converge on the idea that this smaller indentation is a keyhole or an activation socket. The legend of Amaru Muru explicitly states that the golden disc, the key of the 7 rays, was placed into this recess to initiate the opening sequence of the larger gate. This suggests a precise technological requirement, possibly a specific material, frequency, or energetic charge needed to complete a circuit or trigger a mechanism lost to time. Modern theories attempt to rationalize this concept. Some researchers propose that the niche was designed to house a reflective or luminous object used for astronomical observation or calculation. Given the clear skies and high altitude of the Puno region, the gate could have functioned as a sophisticated calendar or observatory, using the keyhole to anchor specific instruments or mark the solstices and equinoxes. When an observer places their forehead into the recess, as many visitors do, they are positioned to view a particular segment of the sky, framed by the larger gate, suggesting a specialized viewing angle for celestial events. This would align its purpose with other Andean sites known for their precision astronomy, such as Machu Picchu and the aforementioned Tiahuanaco. However, the most intriguing theories revolve around the niche's potential as an energy conductor or resonance chamber. Scientists who have conducted preliminary, non-invasive studies on the rock have noted slight magnetic anomalies around the site, though definitive, peer-reviewed data remain scarce. Proponents of the Stargate theory argue that the precise dimensions and finish of the inner niche could be designed to focus or amplify naturally occurring piezoelectric energy generated by the stress on quartz-rich rocks, or even tap into the Earth's own geomagnetic fields. The anecdotal reports of humming and vibrations could be evidence of low-frequency sound waves or electromagnetic resonance when conditions are right, essentially indicating that the gate is charging or in a state of minimal readiness. The act of placing one's head or hands into the niche, therefore, might serve as a passive form of biofeedback, tuning the human body to the site's frequency, or perhaps even initiating a mild localized psychoacoustic effect. The cultural significance of the carving, irrespective of its actual function, is undeniable. For the indigenous Aymara, the gate is intrinsically linked to the concept of Pachamama, Mother Earth, and the Andean cosmology. They view it as a sacred point where the Hanan Pacha, the upper world of the gods, the Kai Pacha, the world of the living, and the Uku Pacha, the inner world of the ancestors, converge. The solid rock face is not a barrier, but a veil, and the ceremonial use of the site today, involving offerings and rituals focused on the niches, is a continuation of a practice meant to maintain balance and facilitate communication between these 3 realms. In this context, the Gate of the Gods is less about a physical door, more about a spiritual nexus, a permanent, immovable symbol of their connection to the cosmos and their deep ancestors. Its enduring presence ensures that the mystery of Hayu Marca continues to inspire awe and challenge the boundaries between science and ancient wisdom.
One of the most persistent and least explored aspects of the Hayu Marca mystery is the potential for geological or astronomical alignments connecting the gate to other key structures in the region. The proximity of Lake Titicaca, a massive body of water sacred to numerous pre-Columbian cultures, is the first major clue. Titicaca is often cited as a crucial energy or spiritual center, and the gate is situated specifically within its geographical sphere of influence. Researchers have begun exploring the possibility that the gate, along with sites like Tiwanaku and Pumapunku, may form part of a larger megalithic complex intentionally aligned to harness specific celestial energies or mark key astronomical cycles. For instance, the orientation of the gate's main face has been studied in relation to the annual movements of the Sun and prominent constellations. While specific definitive alignments are debated,
The overall placement of the carving in the rugged landscape suggests a deliberate choice of location, far from easy access and positioned to interact with the environment. Some theories propose that on certain significant days, such as the June solstice, the sun's rays might illuminate the smaller inner niche in a unique or focused manner, potentially acting as a visual trigger or a timing mechanism for a ceremonial or even technological function. The red sandstone of the cliff face, when struck by the low-angled sun of a solstice, creates a stunning, almost supernatural visual effect, enhancing the site's mystical atmosphere. The broader cosmological context of the gate also involves the concept of sacred geometry and its potential application in ancient Andean engineering. Many structures attributed to the Inca and pre-Inca cultures exhibit precise mathematical ratios and geometric patterns. While the Hayu Marca carving appears geometrically simple, a large square surrounding a smaller rectangle, the perfection of its cut and the monumental effort required to achieve it suggests that its dimensions might correspond to ancient units of measure or symbolic ratios intended to harmonize the structure with its environment or with celestial mechanics. If the gate was indeed a portal, its dimensions could be a physical representation of the required temporal or spatial parameters needed for interdimensional travel, a form of hyperdimensional mapping encoded in stone. Furthermore, the discovery of the gate in 1996 raises questions about its preservation and the timeline of its visibility. The fact that such a massive carving, approximately 49 square meters, could remain largely unnoticed by the modern world until relatively recently is astonishing. This has led to speculation that the structure may have been intentionally concealed or buried for centuries, either by natural forces, landslides, erosion, or by ancient caretakers attempting to hide its power or prevent its misuse. The local Aymara may have always known of it, but their deep respect for the sacred sites and their desire to protect them from external exploitation could explain the lack of wider public knowledge. The subsequent flow of visitors and the rise in esoteric interest underscore the fact that the Gate of the Gods is not just an archaeological curiosity, but a powerful cultural and spiritual vortex that continues to draw attention, challenging our understanding of ancient history, technology, and the enduring human fascination with the doors to the unknown.
The mystery of Hayu Marca also provides fertile ground for exploring the sociological and cultural impact of an artifact that defies conventional archaeological classification. Since its public acknowledgement, the gate has evolved from a local legend into a global phenomenon, particularly within the New Age, esoteric, and ancient astronaut communities. This influx of non-traditional interest has created a unique, complex dynamic between academic researchers, local indigenous communities, and spiritual tourists, each viewing the gate through a different lens. For the indigenous Aymara, the site is a continuation of their sacred lineage, demanding respect and ritual observance. For the esoteric traveler, it represents hope for contact with higher dimensions or extraterrestrial intelligence. This blend of perspectives has significantly complicated attempts at formalized academic study. The site is not easily fenced off or strictly controlled, leading to a constant debate over preservation versus spiritual access. Visitors often leave offerings, perform unauthorized rituals, or even attempt to manipulate the rock face, sometimes unintentionally damaging the delicate archaeological context around the carving. Archaeologists, operating under standard protocols, face the challenge of studying a site that is simultaneously a religious shrine, a tourist destination, and a focus of global fringe theories.
This lack of controlled access and the proliferation of non-scientific narratives surrounding the gate make it difficult to gather definitive, objective data that would satisfy the broader academic community, thus perpetuating its status as an unexplained mystery. Furthermore, the focus on the Stargate concept at Hayu Marca feeds into a global narrative pattern concerning pre-flood civilizations and forgotten technology. Proponents of the ancient astronaut theory often connect the gate's alleged function to similar megalithic portals found in other parts of the world, such as the Inti Punku, Sun Gate at Tiwanaku, or even structures described in Hindu or Sumerian texts. They argue that the global recurrence of legends involving celestial journeys and mechanical gates suggests a common source of knowledge, perhaps a highly advanced terrestrial or extraterrestrial civilization that seeded technology across the planet. The Hayu Marca Gate, being solid rock, is seen as the perfect, enduring testament to a technology that ceased to function, but whose physical framework was left behind, waiting for the return of the key of the seven rays or the right cosmic alignment for reactivation. The geological composition of the area itself may hold the final, most scientific key to unlocking the enigma. The red sandstone of the cliff is rich in certain minerals and crystalline structures. Advanced geological analysis could potentially reveal unique properties that make this specific rock face a natural geophysical anomaly. For example, certain stress points in the Earth's crust are known to generate unusual electromagnetic fields or release inert gases. If the ancient carvers were aware of such a localized anomaly, they might have intentionally created the door-like facade not as a functional machine, but as a monumental marker signifying a naturally occurring point of concentrated energy. In this scenario, the Gate of the Gods is a piece of magnificent ancient signage directing attention to a power source or a unique geographical feature that was, and perhaps still is, sacred and powerful.
To fully appreciate the narrative surrounding Hayu Marca, one must consider the deeper implications of the Amaru Muru legend and its political significance during the Spanish conquest. The tale of the priest king fleeing with the key of the seven rays and using the gate to escape to the land of the gods is more than just a myth of interdimensional travel. It represents a powerful cultural resistance narrative. At a time when the Inca Empire was collapsing under foreign invasion, the ability to protect their most sacred artifact and knowledge, and to transcend the physical realm entirely, offered a profound spiritual refuge and a message of enduring sovereignty against the brutal reality of conquest. The golden disk, or key of the seven rays, is a critical motif in this resistance story. It symbolizes the highest level of Incan astronomical, spiritual, and perhaps technological knowledge. By taking the key with him, Amaru Muru ensured that this essential wisdom and power would not be corrupted or exploited by the invaders, guaranteeing its preservation for a future generation, a generation capable of understanding and utilizing its true purpose. This narrative is frequently invoked by modern Andean indigenous movements, turning the solid rock gate into a powerful symbol of their hidden heritage and their expectation of a Pachacuti, a time of cosmic reversal and renewal where the old order is restored. The gate, therefore, stands as a solidified promise of eventual return and reawakening. Beyond the legend, the very act of carving such a massive door-like facade into an inaccessible cliff face reflects a mindset of monumentalism for a non-human audience. If the gate's purpose was purely spiritual or ceremonial for the local population, a smaller, more accessible shrine would have sufficed.
The immense scale, however, suggests that the intended viewers or users were either colossal, non-terrestrial, or that the structure was meant to be seen from a great distance or even from above. This supports the more controversial theories linking the site to possible ancient extraterrestrial contact, where the gate served as a landing marker, a beacon, or a preset terminal for beings traveling across vast cosmic distances. The precision of the cut, which surpasses typical Incan rough-hewn techniques and points instead to the sophisticated stonework of older cultures like Tiwanaku, suggests a technology that utilized tools capable of manipulating rock with near-laser precision, a capability difficult to attribute to the known Bronze Age tools of the Andean people. In contemporary culture, Hayu Marca has become a focal point for Earth energy grid theories. These theories posit that the planet is crisscrossed by lines of natural energy, sometimes called ley lines or geomagnetic currents. Spiritualists and geoscientists, of the fringe variety, argue that the ancient peoples deliberately constructed their most important temples and portals, including the Hayu Marca Gate, at the intersection points of these energetic lines, to maximize power or communication potential. In this view, the gate is positioned on a crucial planetary chakra point, where the natural vibrations of the Earth are at their strongest, providing the necessary charge or pathway for the interdimensional transit described in the legends. While empirical evidence for this grid remains elusive, the enduring spiritual conviction in the site's power continues to draw thousands who seek to experience this alleged convergence of cosmic and terrestrial forces firsthand, solidifying its role as a perpetually active hub of mystery and spiritual speculation.
The lack of mainstream archaeological consensus on the age and true purpose of the Hayu Marca Gate is perhaps the most defining element of its mystery. Unlike structures clearly tied to the Inca or colonial periods, the gate exists in a chronological vacuum. Without definitive excavation data, such as pottery sherds, carbon-dated organic material, or clear architectural context, dating the carving relies heavily on stylistic analysis and geological observation. Stylistically, the geometric precision and massive scale link it more closely to the pre-Inca Tiwanaku or Wari cultures, which flourished in the Titicaca Basin centuries before the Inca expansion. If this older dating is accurate, the legends attributing its use to the Inca priest Amaru Muru might be later adaptations of a much older myth, recontextualized by the descending culture. The geological perspective, however, offers a different timeline puzzle. The red sandstone of the cliff face is subject to slow but constant erosion from the high-altitude weather cycles. The fact that the cuts, both the large facade and the smaller niche, remain strikingly crisp and well-preserved suggests that the carving might not be as ancient as some suspect, or, conversely, that the original artisans applied an unknown preservation technique to the surface of the stone. If the carving were millennia old, one might expect more significant smoothing and degradation of the edges. This opens up the possibility that the gate could be a relatively recent, albeit monumental, ceremonial carving inspired by ancient legends rather than the functional Stargate of a forgotten civilization. This ambiguity in dating is exactly what allows the myriad of alternative theories, from functional Stargate to modern hoax, to coexist. The cultural impact of Hayu Marca also ties directly into the Andean concept of sacred landscapes. In Andean cosmology, mountains, apus, and bodies of water, coches, are not merely geographical features, they are living deities and spiritual centers. The gate is carved into a massive apus, overlooking the vast cocha of Lake Titicaca. This placement itself signifies a supreme act of veneration, an attempt to physically manifest a link between the realm of the mountain gods and the realm of the water gods.
The red sandstone itself may have been chosen for its symbolic color, representing the life-giving blood of Pachamama, or for its energetic properties. The entire site is thus designed to be a monumental geoglyph of devotion, a permanent prayer etched into the earth, intended to maintain the cosmic order and ensure the favor of the mountain spirits. Ultimately, the enduring enigma of the Gate of the Gods is a reflection of the human desire to believe in possibilities beyond the mundane. The solid rock face, symbolizing an impossible barrier, is simultaneously a powerful mirror reflecting our own curiosity about deep history, lost technology, and the nature of consciousness. It remains a physical anchor for extraordinary claims, from interdimensional travel to ancient alien visitation, precisely because it refuses to yield a simple, conventional explanation. As long as the key of the 7 rays remains hidden, the gate stands as a silent testament to the secrets that lie sealed within the heart of the Andes, waiting for the right moment, or the right mind, to rediscover its true function.
Focusing on the metaphysical aspects, Hayu Marca is often studied within the framework of vibrational and acoustic archaeology. Reports from visitors describing hearing a deep internal hum or feeling intense vibrations inside the smaller niche suggest that the rock formation might be structurally or compositionally unique, allowing it to act as a natural resonator. The surrounding environment, specifically the vast open high-altitude bowl, creates ideal conditions for sound reflection and amplification. Some esoteric researchers speculate that the ancient builders intentionally utilized the site's natural acoustics to create a powerful localized field of sound waves. If these sound waves were precisely tuned to a certain frequency, perhaps an infrasound frequency, below human hearing, it could account for the vertigo, dizziness, and intense emotional responses reported by visitors, as infrasound is known to affect human biological and psychological states. This leads to the hypothesis that the gate might have been part of an ancient, large-scale sonic or frequency technology. Instead of a key that physically turns a lock, the key of the 7 rays could have been an object designed to emit a specific, complex sonic or electromagnetic signature. When placed within the smaller niche, this signature would resonate with the rock's natural frequency, temporarily destabilizing the atomic structure of the stone along the plane of the larger recess. This temporary molecular destabilization would create the glowing fluid effect described in the Amurumuru legend, essentially turning the solid rock into a permeable medium, a portal. Such a concept aligns with modern, albeit theoretical, physics regarding the manipulation of matter through focused energy or frequency manipulation. The significance of the number 7 in the key of the 7 rays cannot be overlooked. The number 7 holds immense cosmological and spiritual importance across countless ancient civilizations, often relating to celestial bodies, the 7 classical planets, dimensions, or spiritual levels. In the context of Hayu Marca, the 7 rays likely refers to 7 different frequencies, colors, or energetic pathways that the key could potentially access or generate. This suggests that the gate was not merely a binary open-closed mechanism, but a sophisticated interface capable of tuning into 7 different destinations or dimensions. If true, this elevates the gate from a simple portal to a complex, multi-layered cosmic junction point, implying a detailed knowledge of astrophysics and quantum mechanics by its builders. Finally, the gate serves as a profound cultural mirror, reflecting the continuity of Andean spiritual practices. Even without definitive archaeological proof of its function, the sheer fact that the local communities continue to use the site for ritual and maintain its legends ensures its ongoing cultural relevance. The offerings, the ceremonies, and the reverence shown at Hayu Marca are living archaeological data, demonstrating that the function of the gate has transcended its physical mystery.
It is now fundamentally about collective memory, cultural identity, and the preservation of a sacred heritage that views the cosmos not as empty space, but as a densely connected, permeable, and spiritually active network. The solid rock door, which seems to block a pathway, paradoxically opens a pathway to understanding the deep spiritual world of the Andes.
The investigation into the Hayu Marca site inevitably intersects with the controversial field of archaeoacoustics, which studies the acoustic properties of ancient sites. The reports of unusual sounds and vibrations compel researchers to consider if the structure was engineered to manipulate sound for a specific, non-obvious purpose. Unlike open-air theaters, the gate is a large, solid facade. This suggests that the acoustic manipulation occurs within the rock or is a product of its interaction with environmental sound waves. It is theorized that the dimensions of the smaller inner niche may be a harmonic fraction of the larger recess, creating an engineered acoustic interference pattern. When natural sounds, like wind passing over the valley or certain ceremonial drumming, interact with the gate, these patterned cuts could focus the sound waves into a single intense point, potentially at the location where a person places their head. If this sonic focus hypothesis holds true, the resulting focused sound energy could induce the trance-like states, visions, or dizziness reported by visitors. Such effects are not necessarily mystical, but are known neurophysiological responses to specific sonic frequencies. The ancient builders, having a sophisticated empirical understanding of local geography and acoustic principles, might have designed the gate as a shamanic induction tool, a monumental device to facilitate altered states of consciousness necessary for spiritual communication or prophecy. In this view, the gate is a technological amplifier for the human mind, enabling the passage into the spiritual realm without the need for a physical swinging door. The legend of a Maru Muru passing through could therefore be a metaphor for achieving a profound state of transcendence.
The allure of the Hayu Marca Gate also stems from its symbolic resonance with global myths concerning underworld entrances and heavenly ascensions. Across diverse cultures, sacred sites are often deliberately placed at locations believed to be liminal zones, points where the boundary between the physical world and the spiritual or netherworlds is thin. In Andean cosmology, this concept is represented by the aforementioned Uku Pacha, inner world of the ancestors. The gate, carved deep into the mountain, which is the symbolic home of the Apus, mountain deities, perfectly embodies this liminal function. It is a physical manifestation of a passage point, not necessarily through space to another planet, but through the veil separating the present time from the deep ancestral past or from the divine realm. This interpretation shifts the focus from a technological stargate to a spiritual and cultural checkpoint. The purpose of the carving would not be to transport matter, but to sanctify a location where communication and energy transfer between these realms are optimized. Ancient rituals performed here would have aimed at appeasing the mountain deities, seeking the guidance of ancestors, or ensuring the fertility and health of the Kai Pacha, the living world. The difficulty of reaching the site and the monumental effort put into the carving underscores its extreme sacredness and its role as a key locus for maintaining the cosmological harmony of the Andean world. The gate acts as the permanent, unmoving axis of the local universe. The ongoing debate about the gate also highlights the critical difference between archaeological evidence and ethnohistorical testimony. Archaeologists demand tangible proof, dates, associated artifacts, and measurable data. However, the deepest truths about Hayu Marca
are often contained within the unwritten, continuously transmitted knowledge of the Aymara people, their legends, their rituals, and their spiritual understanding of the land. For them, the truth of the gate is not in its structural age, but in its function as a sacred, powerful entity. Ignoring this ethno-historical context leads to an incomplete understanding, reducing an ancient living spiritual monument to a mere rock carving. The legends, which speak of kings, gods, and golden keys, are the functional manual for the site, albeit translated into the language of myth. Ultimately, the mystique of Hayu Marca lies in its ability to resist simple categorization. It is a compelling synthesis of masterful pre-Inca stonework, potent indigenous mythology, unexplained energetic anomalies, and intense modern speculation. It forces us to acknowledge that ancient civilizations may have pursued scientific and technological paths fundamentally different from our own, focused on harnessing biological energy, planetary acoustics, or quantum-level manipulations, rather than purely mechanical engineering. The Gate of the Gods, a silent sentinel in the Peruvian highlands, remains one of the world's most evocative symbols of the secrets that sleep beneath the surface of history, forever inviting contemplation on the boundaries of the possible.
The enduring puzzle of the Gate of the Gods also compels us to examine the psychological impact of standing before a monumental symbol of the impossible. The sheer size of the 7 by 7 meter facade, deliberately engineered to resemble a door, yet leading to solid rock, creates a powerful cognitive dissonance in the observer. This deliberate contradiction between expectation and reality likely contributes to the heightened emotional and sensory experiences reported by many visitors. The mind, programmed to recognize a door as a pathway, struggles to process a door that is a wall, opening the observer up to suggestions of hidden mechanisms, invisible realms, or spiritual manipulation. This psychological factor is a crucial, non-technological component of the gate's lasting power. Furthermore, the surrounding geography plays a profound role. The high altitude, approximately 3,800 meters of the region, means that visitors are often experiencing some degree of mild hypoxia, or reduced oxygen supply. Hypoxia is scientifically known to induce altered states of consciousness, intensify sensory input, and occasionally trigger hallucinations or feelings of profound euphoria or dread. It is possible that the ancient shamans and priests who used the site were fully aware of the mind-altering effects of the altitude and incorporated this natural phenomenon into their rituals, using the low oxygen levels as a catalyst for spiritual journeys or visionary states. The gate itself, therefore, might be the stage for a ceremony where the natural environment acts as the primary psychedelic tool, facilitating the metaphorical journey to the land of the gods. The connection between Hayu Marca and the legendary city of the Caesars, La Ciudad de los Césares, adds another layer of historical intrigue. This mythical lost city is described in Spanish colonial chronicles as a wealthy, hidden settlement in the Andes, sometimes containing survivors of the Inca or even European explorers. Some esoteric theories suggest that the Gate of the Gods is not a celestial portal, but a clandestine entrance to an underground sanctuary or city, the true location of the city of the Caesars. The legend of Amaru Muru vanishing behind the door would then be interpreted as him entering a secret subterranean realm, perhaps utilizing a mechanism that temporarily retracts the solid rock facade, thus ensuring the survival of the Inca golden treasures and knowledge.
This perspective grounds the mystery in terrestrial history and colonial resistance rather than purely extraterrestrial contact. In the final analysis, the most significant contribution of the Gate of the Gods might be its ability to serve as a critical counterpoint to Eurocentric archaeological narratives. It forces the academic world to acknowledge the profound technological and cosmological sophistication of pre-Columbian cultures, even when that sophistication is encoded in myth and seemingly impossible structures. The Gate challenges us to view ancient civilizations not just through the lens of agriculture and conquest, but through their mastery of metaphysics, energy, and the human mind. The solid rock door remains unyielding, but the questions it raises continue to crack open our understanding of history.
The visual representation of the Hayu Marca gate itself, a large square with an inner rectangle, possesses significant symbolic, geometric meaning within Andean cosmology. The square is often interpreted as representing the physical world, or Kai Pacha, symbolizing stability, the four cardinal directions, and the four corners of the Inca universe, Tawantinsuyu. The smaller inner rectangle, perfectly centered, often symbolizes the doorway or eye of God, a portal to higher realms or the Hananpacha, upper world. This nested geometric design suggests that the gate is a metaphorical map, where the physical structure is an intentional, two-dimensional representation of a multidimensional concept. It is a visual lesson in cosmology etched into the bedrock. Further exploring the structural design, the smooth, polished surface of the inner recess contrasts sharply with the rougher texture of the surrounding cliff face. This difference in texture could be intentional, serving a functional purpose beyond mere aesthetics. The polished stone might have been treated to be highly reflective or to minimize friction if, as some legends suggest, the section was meant to move. Alternatively, the smooth surface could have been essential for focusing light, sound, or energetic fields. Ancient stoneworkers were masters of subtle surface manipulation. The choice of a specific polish or finish often had a profound impact on the material's interaction with the environment, a form of passive, optical, or acoustic engineering. The modern spiritual significance of Hayu Marca is also tied to the global phenomenon of crystalline energy theories. The Titicaca region is known to have areas rich in quartz and other crystalline minerals. Some New Age proponents believe that crystals act as natural energy conductors, amplifiers, or memory storage devices. Given the reports of magnetic and energetic anomalies at the site, theories suggest that the ancient builders located the gate on a vast underground crystalline deposit. The carving itself, through its precise geometry, may then be acting as a tuning fork or receiver, channeling the energy naturally emitted by the underlying crystals and focusing it at the keyhole niche, making the location intensely powerful for meditation or spiritual contact. The golden disc, in this context, could be interpreted as a crystalline object or a highly pure metallic inductor designed to ring the tuning fork and initiate the energetic cascade necessary for the opening. In conclusion, the Gate of the Gods is a complex nexus where art meets engineering and myth meets the material world. It remains a testament to the belief that the ancient peoples of the Andes held secrets that extend far beyond our current archaeological understanding. Whether its function was to transport a body, amplify consciousness, or simply serve as a breathtakingly powerful monument to the divine, the solid rock doorway continues to invite the world to look deeper into the possibility that the greatest mysteries of our planet are often found in the most unyielding places.
The global proliferation of interest in the Hayu Marca Gate has inevitably drawn comparisons to other monumental, inexplicable carvings and structures worldwide, suggesting a potential common blueprint or shared historical event. The site is often linked to the enigmatic Sun Gate, Intipuku at Tiwanaku, which, while structurally different, it is a functioning archway, shares the cosmological connection to celestial movements and the concept of a solar-aligned entrance. Furthermore, theorists frequently draw parallels between Hayu Marca and the legends surrounding the Pumapunku stone blocks, whose intricate, perfect cuts also defy conventional understanding of ancient Andean tools. The shared geographical basin, Lake Titicaca, and the similar level of sophisticated stonework suggest that these sites might be components of a unified, high-technology system established by an earlier, possibly pre-flood civilization. The specific geological context of the gate's location, known as the Altiplano, is crucial to understanding its environmental and energetic significance. This massive high-altitude plateau is characterized by extreme temperature fluctuations and a thin atmosphere, which can lead to unique atmospheric and electromagnetic conditions. The location is an area of intense tectonic stress, lying at the convergence of continental plates. This geological activity is often associated with the generation of telluric currents, earth currents, and localized seismic energy. The ancient builders may have been experts in geomancy, the art of positioning structures to harness or interact with these natural planetary energies. If the gate was designed to capture or focus telluric energy, its non-functional appearance as a door becomes a feature, not a bug. The solid rock face serves as the perfect insulator and focusing lens for the energetic interaction. One of the more speculative yet compelling theories centers on the concept of time travel or temporal manipulation. If the gate truly is a stargate, its function might not be solely to traverse spatial distance, rather temporal distance. The key of the 7 rays could be an artifact that provides the necessary complex calculations or energy to lock on to a specific point in time, allowing the user to travel backward or forward. The reports of visitors experiencing temporal distortions or hallucinations could be small, localized side effects of the gate's inherent ability to subtly warp the space-time around it. This perspective elevates the gate to an extraordinarily powerful piece of technology, one that deals with the fundamental fabric of the cosmos, echoing modern theoretical physics where gravity and energy are intrinsically linked to the curvature of space-time. Ultimately, the Gate of the Gods serves as a powerful cultural magnet and a living monument to human curiosity. It continuously reinforces the idea that true knowledge of our past remains elusive. The solid rock door, which seems to seal off a physical path, paradoxically opens 1,000 intellectual and spiritual pathways for those who stand before it. Its enduring mystery is a testament to the sophistication of ancient Andean cosmology and the universal human desire to connect with the divine, the extraterrestrial, or simply the profoundly unknown.
The minimal erosion and sharp definition of the carvings at Hayu Marca, despite the severe high-altitude weathering, lead to the intriguing possibility of ancient geopolymer technology. Some researchers suggest that the advanced civilizations of the Altiplano did not carve the massive rock faces using simple bronze or stone tools, but rather utilized a process involving rock softening or reconstitution. This theory posits that the stone was chemically treated to become pliable, molded into the required shapes, the door and the niche, and then allowed to re-harden, potentially explaining the near-perfect, impossible cuts seen at Hayu Marca and Pumapunku. This method would also allow for the intentional embedding of certain mineral compounds on the surface, which could serve as a protective layer against erosion, accounting for the gate's excellent state of preservation.
If geopolymer technology was used, it suggests an incredibly advanced understanding of mineral chemistry and material science by the builders. This technology could also tie in to the functional theories of the gate. For instance, the rock face might have been engineered to contain specific metallic oxides or rare earth elements that only become conductive or reactive when exposed to a unique energy source, such as the electromagnetic pulse generated by the key of the 7 rays. The rock, therefore, would be not just a static sculpture, but an integral composite part of the machine itself, waiting for the right component to activate its engineered properties. The surrounding geological context also presents a mystery: the relative isolation of the site. Hayu Marca is not conveniently located near major population centers or traditional transport routes, making the construction of such a monumental structure a logistical nightmare using conventional ancient methods. This intentional remoteness suggests the site's purpose was critically important, perhaps needing to be shielded from prying eyes or environmental interference. It could indicate that the gate's intended function, be it interdimensional travel or advanced communication, required a location that was geographically and electromagnetically quiet, away from the clutter of human habitation. This decision underscores the probability that the gate was a specialized piece of infrastructure rather than a general public monument. Furthermore, the legends surrounding the gate offer a glimpse into the concept of divine guardianship. The stories often imply that the gate is protected by invisible forces or beings. This narrative structure is a common feature in myths about powerful artifacts or portals, serving to deter the unworthy or unprepared from attempting to access its power. The gate is thus protected not just by its remoteness and solid rock face, but by cultural and spiritual taboo. This collective belief in its guardianship adds an essential layer of respect and fear to the site, ensuring its preservation through centuries of human history and reinforcing its status as a truly sacred and actively protected boundary.
The pervasive feeling of deep history and the cosmic scale of the gate's mystery are intensified by considering the lost knowledge of the previous pre-Inca cultures that dominated the Titicaca Basin. While the Inca adapted and integrated many traditions, much of the true technical and cosmological understanding of the Tiwanaku and Wari civilizations remains obscured. These earlier cultures were responsible for feats of engineering and agriculture that often surpassed those of the later Inca Empire. It is highly probable that the true significance and activation protocol of the Hayu Marca Gate belong to this earlier, more technologically advanced period. The legends of the Inca, including the Amaru Muru story, may simply be fragmented or simplified recollections of a far more complex technological operation originally conceived millennia earlier. This hypothesis leads to an examination of the symbolism of the key of the 7 rays in the context of older, lost systems. If the key was not a golden disk, but rather a representation of a sophisticated data input device or master control unit, the number 7 might refer to a system of 7 planetary alignments, 7 geometric coordinates, or 7 distinct frequency bands required to calibrate the portal. In this view, the Gate of the Gods is an ancient hard drive of cosmological data, and the key is the software required to read or access the information, or to initiate the dimensional shift. The concept of an artifact containing complex encoded data aligns with the overall pattern of advanced scientific knowledge often hidden within the myths of lost civilizations. Furthermore, the gate serves as a fascinating example of contested history and archaeological exclusion. Due to its association with esoteric and fringe theories, serious, sustained archaeological funding and multidisciplinary study have often been difficult to secure. Many academics fear that engaging with the Stargate concept risks damaging their professional credibility, leading to a de facto exclusion of the site from major research agendas. This exclusion, however, only allows the non-traditional narratives to flourish, creating a cycle where the lack of scientific data is interpreted by proponents as evidence of a cover-up or intentional disregard for a profound mystery. The gate thus remains trapped in a kind of epistemological limbo, revered by the spiritualists and marginalized by the scientists, preventing a full, holistic understanding of its origin and purpose. The Gate of the Gods, in its stark simplicity and massive scale, ultimately stands as a powerful meditation on transcendence. It embodies the universal human dream of escaping the confines of physical reality, whether through spiritual ascent, technological advancement, or magical means. The solid rock door, which seems to deny passage, ultimately confirms the yearning for what lies beyond. Its location, nestled between the sacred mountains and the cosmic lake, ensures that it will remain a touchstone for seekers, perpetually challenging the limits of human history and our definition of what constitutes a door.
The architectural relationship between the larger recess and the smaller inner niche at Hayu Marca is a topic often interpreted through the lens of sacred ratio and harmonic proportion. Researchers who favor the technological hypothesis suggest that the ratio between the height and width of the two door-like carvings is not arbitrary, but rather corresponds to a specific mathematical constant, perhaps related to the golden ratio, or a value necessary for initiating a physics-based mechanism. Such precise proportionality would indicate that the builders were not simply making an artistic statement, but were adhering to strict, engineered specifications required for the gate's functionality as a device. The perfection of the cuts, which would have required extremely precise measurements and tools, supports the idea that these dimensions were critical to the overall design. This attention to mathematical detail is highly consistent with the known capabilities of ancient Andean astronomers and engineers, particularly those associated with the Tiwanaku culture, who demonstrated an advanced understanding of geometry and celestial mechanics. If the inner niche represents the keyhole or activation point, its precise dimensions might correspond to the resonant frequency of the entire structure. Just as an opera singer can shatter glass by hitting its resonant frequency, the key of the seven rays, if it were a sonic or frequency emitter, would need to be tuned perfectly to the gate's specific harmonic signature, which is mathematically encoded in its dimensions. The psychological dimension of the two doors, one large, one small, is also symbolically significant. The larger door might represent the ultimate cosmic passage, perhaps reserved for deities or major events, like the one described in the Amaru-Muru legend. The smaller niche, however, is human-sized and suggests a more personal, localized interaction. Visitors often place their hands or forehead into this smaller recess, suggesting it was designed for a direct, physical interface with the user. This duality reinforces the idea that the gate is not a single-purpose entity, but a tiered system, the large door for the macrocosmic and the small niche for the microcosmic human-scale interaction, a point of contact and contemplation. Finally, the continuous presence of local Aymara ritual activity at Hayu Marca demonstrates the living nature of the site's power. The Aymara ceremonies, which often involve offerings and invocations focused on the gate, are not merely historical reenactments, they are acts of spiritual maintenance. The Aymara believe that these rituals keep the cosmological energy of the site balanced and appease the powerful spirits within the mountains. Their practices serve as the unwritten operational guide to the gate, suggesting that human spiritual and ritualistic energy is the true key that keeps the portal metaphysically functional, regardless of whether the solid rock ever physically moves. Their deep and continuous reverence ensures that the gate remains a powerful, active, and sacred location in the modern world.
The debate concerning the Gate of the Gods frequently touches upon the possibility of ancient astronomical signaling. Given its location in a remote, high-altitude environment with minimal light pollution, the area would have been an ideal natural observatory. The massive scale of the carving suggests it could have served as a continental landmark for observers positioned far away, or perhaps for celestial entities. If the gate was designed to align with a specific star system, such as the Pleiades, the Colcolca to the Incas, which held deep religious significance, its orientation could be a deliberate form of communication. The large rectangular frame might mark the exact rising or setting point of a key constellation on a particular date thousands of years ago, permanently encoding an astronomical message in the landscape. Furthermore, the red color of the sandstone itself may be integral to this signaling concept. Under certain atmospheric conditions or at specific times of day, the red rock becomes strikingly vibrant. This color could have been utilized as a natural beacon or visual marker against the blue-gray background of the Andes. Some fringe theories propose that if the gate was indeed a landing or communication site for extraterrestrial visitors, the distinct color and the monumental geometry served as a clear, unmistakable symbol visible from orbit or at great distances across the plateau. The simplicity of the shape, square and rectangle, is universally recognizable, making it a design suitable for communication with any intelligence. The enduring local belief in underground tunnels and hidden passageways near the gate also warrants consideration. While physical excavation has been limited, persistent Aymara legends speak of a network of subterranean tunnels linking Hayu Marca to other sacred sites like Tiahuanaco and even Cusco. If such a system exists, it suggests that the door might not be a portal through dimensions, but a sealed entrance to a vast, concealed infrastructure. The legend of Amaru Muru would then be about him using a key to open a hidden mechanism that provides access to this tunnel network, allowing the transport of treasures and knowledge into a safe, subterranean archive away from the Spanish. This perspective transforms the gate from a cosmic mystery into an historical secret, pointing towards a massive yet undiscovered feat of civil engineering by pre-Inca cultures. The final analysis of the Hayu Marca gate is constrained by its singularity. There are no other identically massive solid rock doors known in the Andes. This singularity either points to a unique, one-off project tied to a specific local event, or, more thrillingly, suggests that the gate represents a prototypical or sole-surviving example of a lost class of technology. Its inexplicable existence forces us to confront the fact that our archaeological record of the Titicaca Basin, a region acknowledged as a cradle of civilization, is profoundly incomplete, and that profound secrets, whether technological, spiritual, or purely historical, remain locked within its mountainous terrain.
The phenomenon of reported out-of-body experiences, or OBEs, and profound meditative states achieved at the Hayu Marca Gate offers a compelling, albeit non-scientific, avenue for investigation. Numerous visitors, particularly those engaging in deep meditation or ritualistic practices near the smaller niche, claim to experience a momentary severance from their physical body, seeing themselves from an external perspective or sensing a profound connection to the cosmos.
While easily dismissed as psychological phenomena, these consistent reports suggest the site might possess a natural or engineered capacity to influence human consciousness, perhaps by emitting a subtle field that disrupts the brain's normal sensory processing. This idea aligns with the shamanic view that the gate is a place where the spirit can freely travel between the K-Pacha, this world, and the Hanan Pacha, upper world, using the rock as a kind of spiritual launch pad. The architectural design's relationship to the human body is another intriguing facet. The height of the smaller niche, approximately 2 meters, places its upper edge just above the average person's head, perfectly framing the sky when standing close to the rock face. When a person bows slightly to place their forehead into the recess, the positioning is highly suggestive of a posture of submission or focused contemplation. This deliberate human-scale interface implies that the structure was intended to be used by people, not just observed by them. The act of fitting the head into the niche could be a subtle form of sensory deprivation, momentarily cutting off peripheral vision and environmental noise, thus focusing the mind on the humming sound or the tactile sensation of the rock, amplifying any underlying energetic effects. Further speculation centers on the astrological timing of its supposed discovery. The report of the gate's official sighting in 1996, while potentially just a coincidence, feeds into the esoteric belief that the gate's reemergence was itself part of a cosmic timetable. Many indigenous and New Age prophecies speak of a time when the gates, or vortexes of the Earth, will reactivate to usher in a new era of consciousness. The discovery occurring at the end of the 20th century, a period often associated with heightened millennial spiritual awareness, is interpreted by some as a sign that the gate of the gods is now entering a phase of readiness or partial activation, signaling a return to the powerful knowledge held by the ancient ones. Ultimately, the significance of Hayu Marca lies in its powerful fusion of the literal and the metaphorical. It is a solid, immovable rock face that, in the eyes of millions, represents the ultimate fluidity of dimensional boundaries. It is a silent monument that speaks volumes about the possibility of advanced, non-mechanical technology focused on the subtle energies of the planet and the human mind. The enigma ensures that the Gate of the Gods remains far more than just a carving. It is a permanent philosophical challenge embedded in the heart of the Andes.
The persistent mystery of Hayu Marca also provides a valuable case study in the intersection of oral tradition and archaeological investigation. For centuries, the existence of the gate to the lands of the gods was maintained through the unwritten, continuously chanted histories and myths of the Aymara people. When José Luis Delgado Mamani discovered it in 1996, he simply brought a local, recognized sacred site into the global written narrative. This highlights a fundamental challenge in understanding many megalithic sites. Often, the most accurate and functional information is not found in excavated artifacts, but in the ethno-historical knowledge preserved by the descendants of the builders. The academic community's initial dismissal of the legends as mere folklore represents a potential loss of crucial data that could explain the gate's intended purpose. If we accept the premise that the legends hold functional truth, then the focus must return to the key of the 7 rays. If this key was an object of immense technological significance, what happened to it after Amaru Muro passed through the gate? One possibility is that the key was not merely taken, but was integrated into the portal mechanism itself, perhaps dissolving or becoming one with the rock after its final use. This would explain why no artifact of this description has ever been recovered from the site. Alternatively, the key may be hidden within the aforementioned subterranean tunnels, waiting for a prophetic moment for its rediscovery. The concept of a hidden, critical artifact waiting to be found is a powerful cultural motivator, driving both archaeological searches and spiritual pilgrimages to the area.
Another non-traditional theory suggests that the gate is not a one-way entrance, but a receiver for information or energy. If the universe operates as a vast network of interconnected points, the Gate of the Gods could be positioned to specifically receive data packets or energetic signals from a distant star system or a future time. The smaller niche, then, would not be a keyhole, but an interface or display screen where the received information, perhaps in the form of light, sound, or focused energy, would manifest. This transforms the site from a mode of transportation into a piece of cosmic communication technology, built by a civilization seeking to maintain contact with entities far removed from Earth. Ultimately, the power of the Hayu Marca Gate lies in its permanent challenge to the known limits of human potential. It stands as a monument to the possibility that our ancestors possessed not only spiritual wisdom, but also a scientific understanding of physics and metaphysics that we have yet to recover. The gate is a frozen moment in time, a complex enigma that uses the immutable solidity of the Earth to whisper stories of fluidity, travel, and the boundless nature of the cosmos.
The ultimate interpretation of the Hayu Marca Gate often rests on the concept of intentional obscurity. The builders, regardless of whether they were advanced engineers or profound spiritualists, clearly intended for the structure to be monumental yet elusive. By carving a magnificent door into solid rock, they created a powerful visual paradox, an invitation that is simultaneously a rejection. This act of monumental obscurity suggests a purpose that was meant to be understood by only a select few, perhaps the priesthood, royalty, or those possessing the key of the seven rays. The gate's primary function might have been to test the worthiness of those seeking its power. Only those who held the necessary knowledge, the key, whether physical or spiritual, and possessed the profound understanding of its true, subtle mechanism would be able to utilize it. The very landscape around Hayu Marca reinforces this concept of selective access. The rugged, high-altitude terrain acts as a natural filter, discouraging casual visitors and ensuring that only the truly dedicated or the spiritually prepared make the pilgrimage. This geographical difficulty mirrors the spiritual difficulty required to achieve transcendence in Andean cosmology. The journey to the gate is as much a part of the ritual as the interaction with the rock itself, forcing contemplation and dedication long before the structure is ever sighted. This physical and mental preparation is likely an integral yet often overlooked component of the gate's overall operational design.
The hydrological significance of the Hayu Marca site is a factor often overlooked in the rush to embrace the Stargate narrative. The gate is located relatively close to Lake Titicaca, the largest lake in South America by volume, which acts as a massive thermal, climatic, and energetic reservoir. The relationship between the solid rock of the gate and the immense body of water suggests a potential interaction between earth energy and water energy. In many ancient cultures, water was seen as a mediator between the visible and invisible worlds. Titicaca, being the mythical birthplace of the Inca sun god Viracocha, is imbued with supreme spiritual power. Therefore, the gate's function might be intrinsically linked to the lake's properties, perhaps designed to harness the energy generated by the vast mass of water, or to utilize the lake as a metaphorical reflective surface for astronomical or spiritual observations. This focus on the lake brings into question the role of underwater archaeology in solving the Hayu Marca mystery. Legends persist of submerged temples and cities within Lake Titicaca, including the lost city of Wanaku. If the Gate of the Gods is indeed an entrance to a hidden network or a piece of advanced technology, it is plausible that its counterpart, or the power source required for its full activation, lies beneath the waters of the sacred lake. The legendary golden disk, the key of the 7 rays, may have been created using materials only found or refined through a process connected to the lake's unique ecosystem or geological structure. Furthermore, the geological composition of the region introduces the concept of magnetite deposits. The Andes Mountains are rich in various mineral ores, and the presence of significant localized magnetite, a naturally occurring magnetic mineral, could explain the numerous reports of compass malfunctions and electromagnetic anomalies near the gate. The structure itself might be deliberately positioned to exploit a convergence of magnetic field lines. The carvings could be acting as a magnetic lens, focusing the Earth's natural geomagnetic field into the precise point of the keyhole niche. This would provide a scientific basis for the claims of intense vibrations and vertigo experienced by visitors, suggesting the gate is a vast, passive geomagnetic device.
The cultural significance of the red color of the sandstone at Hayu Marca is a potent symbolic element. In Andean cosmology, red is often associated with the vital force, life, blood, and the Pachamama, Mother Earth. By carving the gate into a massive expanse of this red rock, the builders may have intended to imbue the structure with the supreme life-giving and transformative power of the Earth itself. The act of passing through a door of life-blood symbolically represents a profound transformation or a rebirth into a higher state of existence, which aligns perfectly with the spiritual narrative of ascending to the land of the gods. This is more than mere material choice. It is a cosmological statement rendered in stone. Furthermore, the lack of any surrounding settlement ruins or substantial support structures near the gate itself is highly unusual for a major monumental site. Typically, major ceremonial centers like this would be surrounded by temples, housing for priests, and storage facilities. The complete absence of such common archaeological evidence suggests that the gate was not a hub of daily activity, but rather a highly specialized, isolated mechanism intended only for intermittent, high-stakes use, such as the single mythical departure of a Marumuru. Its isolation reinforces the idea that its function was extraordinary and required seclusion from mundane human activity, possibly to maintain a sterile or electromagnetically quiet environment for its operation. The phenomenon of localized weather anomalies reported near the gate also adds to the mystery. Some local accounts suggest that the microclimate around the gate can be unpredictable, with sudden shifts in temperature, unexpected fogs, or even brief, intense electrical discharges occurring despite clear conditions elsewhere in the valley. If scientifically verifiable, these anomalies could be symptomatic of the gate's ability to subtly manipulate or interact with atmospheric energy or humidity. Such control over localized weather could potentially be linked to its primary function, perhaps requiring specific atmospheric conditions like high humidity for conductivity, or simply being a visible side effect of the high energy fields it generates. Ultimately, the Hayu Marca Gate is a masterful fusion of Andean spiritual reverence and possible engineering genius. It challenges the notion that ancient peoples were simply superstitious. Instead, they may have possessed a sophisticated understanding of the confluence of geological energy, human consciousness, and celestial mechanics, using massive stone structures to facilitate interactions that we, with our modern scientific framework, can only begin to theorize. The solid door remains the most powerful symbol of a profound, yet tantalizingly sealed secret.
The concept of the Hayu Marca gate as a memory site is crucial for understanding its spiritual longevity. In the absence of a written language for much of the pre-Inca history, monumental structures often served as mnemonic devices, physical anchors for complex oral histories, cosmological concepts, and mythological narratives. The sheer physical presence of the solid door compels the Aymara people to remember the legend of Amaru Muru, the golden disk, and the land of the gods. The carving is not just a stage for a ritual. It is a permanent reminder of a profound historical event. Whether that event was literal, a physical departure, or metaphorical, a spiritual transcendence. The gate essentially functions as the most sacred history book of the region, written not on parchment, but in the enduring red stone of the mountain. The geopolitical symbolism of the gate during the Spanish conquest provides a powerful counter-narrative to the idea of total defeat. When the Spanish sought to crush the Inca religion and steal their sacred artifacts, the story of Amaru Muru's escape through the gate provided a vital psychological refuge. It communicated that the most essential elements of their culture, their key knowledge, their divine artifacts, and their most enlightened leader were not captured or destroyed, but merely placed beyond reach, awaiting the moment of return. This mythic preservation of sovereignty is a powerful element of cultural resistance, allowing the indigenous spirit to endure centuries of colonial oppression, sustained by the promise locked behind the gate's immutable rock face. From a scientific standpoint, the magnetic anomaly reports require a deeper look into the possibilities of lithopuncture. This fringe theory posits that ancient civilizations possessed the knowledge to manipulate the Earth's natural energy fields by strategically placing massive stones or carving rock formations at specific telluric points. If Hayu Marca is such a point, the precise cuts of the door and niche may function as an ancient form of lithopuncture, designed to either collect, amplify, or redirect the natural geomagnetic or piezoelectric energy of the mountain. The consistent reports of electromagnetic interference and physical sensations would then be tangible proof of the gate's function as a massive, passive energy modulator. This suggests an entirely different branch of ancient engineering focused on harnessing the subtle, non-visible forces of the planet. Ultimately, the Gate of the Gods is a testament to the fact that the most profound human questions, where do we come from, where do we go, are often encoded in the most magnificent forms. Its solid rock silence is its loudest statement, continually inviting modern science and ancient wisdom to collaborate in unlocking the secrets held within the heart of the sacred Andes.
The notion that the Gate of the Gods is a piece of advanced technology is supported by analyzing the concept of a resonance chamber within the context of the smaller niche. If the inner rectangular cut was designed to receive the key of the 7 rays, it suggests that the space was engineered for optimal acoustic or energetic performance. The dimensions might have been calculated to create a standing wave, a phenomenon where specific frequencies are amplified within an enclosed space. Placing the key, a potential frequency emitter, within this chamber would dramatically enhance its signal, creating the necessary energy output to temporarily destabilize the solid rock of the larger door.
The reports of humming and physical disorientation could therefore be interpreted as the sensation of standing near a massive, low-frequency sound or energy amplifier in its active or partially charged state. Furthermore, the lack of tool marks associated with common ancient carving techniques at Hayu Marca suggests the use of highly unconventional methods, lending credence to theories of lost pre-Inca technological sophistication. The straightness of the cuts, the flat finish of the niches, and the sheer volume of rock removed with no apparent debris field point toward methods involving high-energy application, possibly utilizing focused heat, sonic vibration, or chemical dissolution, geopolymers, rather than physical chiseling and abrasion. This implies that the builders were not just stonemasons, but masters of material science and applied physics, capable of manipulating rock at a fundamental, non-mechanical level. The spiritual connection between the gate and the Inca concept of Viracocha adds a deep layer of cosmological context. Viracocha, the creator god, who emerged from Lake Titicaca, is associated with the cosmos, time, and the stars. The gate, located near Titicaca and linked to the land of the gods, becomes a direct physical and metaphorical link to the creator deity's domain. The act of passing through the gate can be seen as an ultimate pilgrimage, a return to the source of creation. The entire structure therefore acts as a monumental dedication to the cosmic order established by Viracocha, perpetually marking the pathway between the physical world and the divine origin point of the universe. In its role as a persistent enigma, the Gate of the Gods demands an approach that synthesizes mythology, earth sciences, and theoretical physics. It forces the realization that ancient civilizations, particularly those in the high-energy, remote environments of the Andes, may have understood and interacted with the fundamental forces of the planet in ways we are only now beginning to model. The monumental effort expended on a door that goes nowhere reinforces its message. The most important boundaries are not geographical, but dimensional and spiritual, and the true key lies in recovering a forgotten science.
A final, fascinating line of inquiry regarding the Hayu Marca Gate involves examining the concept of sacred pilgrimages and their geometric paths. In ancient Andean culture, paths between major sacred sites, huacas, were often not straight lines, but carefully laid out routes that maximized energetic or spiritual exposure, following terrain features or astronomical alignments. The gate's location, being difficult to access, suggests that the journey itself was a critical component of its function. The winding path taken by pilgrims from the shores of Lake Titicaca to the remote cliff face may have been designed to intentionally intersect certain ley lines or areas of specific telluric energy. This sustained exposure to varying energy fields along the route could have prepared the pilgrim, both physically and spiritually, for the intense energetic experience awaiting them at the actual gate. This idea transforms the entire surrounding valley into an interactive ceremonial space, with the gate serving as the ultimate destination and focal point. The approach to the door would be a ritualized sequence designed to induce an altered state of consciousness through physical exertion at altitude, focused contemplation, and exposure to targeted geological energies. The consistent pattern of spiritual journeys to the site today, mirroring the ancient paths, reinforces the notion that the ritualistic approach is a fundamental part of the gate's overall activation protocol. The power of the site is not isolated to the rock carving, but is distributed across the sacred landscape. The persistent rumors of metal artifacts or inscriptions found, and then lost or hidden near the site, add a layer of tragic mystery to its history.
Reports from the local community in the years immediately following the 1996 discovery occasionally mention metallic objects, perhaps fragments of the legendary golden disc, or pieces of a complex mechanism being found but quickly removed or covered up. While unsubstantiated by formal archaeology, these rumors suggest that the gate may have been a composite structure, a stone facade concealing or interacting with metallic components. The rapid erosion or looting of such metallic parts could explain why the gate appears inert today. The critical technological components are missing. Ultimately, the Gate of the Gods at Hayu Marca remains a profound testament to the power of a single, indelible symbol to command continuous human attention across centuries. Its mystery is comprehensive, drawing equally from mythology, geology, cosmology, and the psychology of the unknown. It serves as a permanent, immovable challenge to the certainty of the material world, asking all who stand before its solid facade to contemplate the possibility that the universe is far more permeable than we dare to believe. The secrets of the Andean high civilization, sealed in stone, continue to whisper the possibility of an interconnected, multi-dimensional cosmos.
The intriguing question of who built the Hayu Marca gate remains central to its mystery. If the quality of the stonework is compared to the rough-hewn techniques characteristic of the later Inca period, the gate seems an outlier. Its precision, the smooth, flat surfaces, and the perfect 90-degree angles align far more closely with the sophisticated, near-mythical masonry of the Tiwanaku or Pumapunku sites, which date back to the first millennium AD, long before the rise of the Inca Empire. This stylistic evidence strongly suggests that the gate is not an Incan creation, but a legacy left by a much older, highly advanced civilization of the Altiplano. This earlier culture's knowledge of geometry and stone manipulation appears to have been vastly superior to those who followed, lending weight to the theories of a lost science utilized in the Titicaca Basin. If the Tiwanaku culture is indeed responsible, it reframes the legend of Amaru Muru. Instead of a direct construction narrative, the Incan priest-king would have been a rediscoverer or inheritor of the gate's operational knowledge, accessing a legacy built by his distant ancestors. The legend would then function as an Incan claim to the most powerful relic of the older foundational civilization. This transfer of knowledge through myth is common in the Andes, where succeeding empires often adopted and reinterpreted the powerful symbols and spiritual centers of their predecessors to legitimize their own rule and power. The persistent reports of visitors experiencing flashbacks or visions of ancient people and rituals near the gate add a speculative layer to the site's function as a potential archivist of time. Some esoteric theories propose that the intense energy fields or specific mineral composition of the rock act like a recording medium. When activated by external energy, perhaps human consciousness or natural geomagnetic fluctuations, the rock may momentarily play back the energetic imprints of past events that occurred at the site. This concept, while highly speculative, offers a non-dimensional explanation for the reported temporal shifts and visions, suggesting the gate's true purpose might be passive, a monumental stone history book that can be temporarily accessed under the right conditions. In conclusion, the Gate of the Gods is a fascinating artifact of cultural palimpsest, where the history of several civilizations, the original builders, the spiritual inheritors, and the colonial chroniclers have been overlaid onto a single, massive stone facade. Its enduring silence about its true creator and operational function continues to make it one of the most compelling and philosophically rich mysteries of the ancient world.
The mysterious nature of the gate encourages us to look at the role of focused human intent and belief in its operation.
Even if the structure was not a conventional machine, the collective belief of the local Aymara and Inca in its power as a passage point could, in itself, be a form of activation. This concept aligns with theories in parapsychology and consciousness studies that suggest focused, collective human thought can influence physical reality on a subtle level. The millennia of rituals, prayers, and deep reverence directed at the solid rock facade may have imbued the site with a persistent spiritual charge or psychic energy that contributes to the reported anomalies. In this sense, the gate functions as a psychic condenser, collecting and amplifying the spiritual energy of the Andean people. This idea of consciousness interaction ties into the potential for the site to be an ancient form of biofeedback technology. The smaller niche, where visitors place their heads, is precisely positioned to interface with the human sensory apparatus. If the rock naturally emits low-frequency vibrations or electromagnetic fields, the niche acts as a focusing dish that directs this energy toward the user's brain. This interaction could trigger the release of specific neurochemicals or induce brainwave synchronization, facilitating the intense visions or altered states of consciousness reported. The gate, therefore, would be a high-altitude, stone-based mind machine designed not for physical transport, but for spiritual and informational transport through the user's own consciousness. The legend of the land of the gods that Amaru Muru escaped to is consistently described not as a distant planet, but as a realm of light, wisdom, and peace, a kind of utopian or perfected reality. This suggests the passage was ultimately one of enlightenment or transcendence. The gate is thus a monument to the possibility of human evolution, representing the ultimate goal of Andean spirituality, the successful union with the divine and the achievement of a perfect state of being. The structure becomes a teaching tool, its solidity reinforcing the difficulty and sacredness of the journey toward true knowledge and spiritual liberation. In its entirety, the Gate of the Gods represents a profound archaeological and cultural challenge. It compels modern science to look beyond purely materialistic explanations and consider the possibility that ancient civilizations integrated metaphysical and conscious principles into their greatest works. The enduring, unyielding stone of Hayu Marca continues to guard its secret, demanding not just excavation, but a fundamental shift in our perception of the capabilities and cosmological focus of the world's most mysterious ancient builders.
The archaeological obscurity surrounding the builders of the gate leads to a careful reevaluation of the myth of the giants in Andean folklore. Across the Andes, legends persist of a race of colossal beings who inhabited the earth before the current era and were responsible for the creation of massive, inexplicable megalithic structures like Tiwanaku and Pumapunku. Given the monumental scale of the Hayu Marca carving, its sheer size suggesting a form of engineering beyond the necessity of average human interaction, the gate could be interpreted as a structure literally designed by or for these giant ancestors. This narrative provides a mythological explanation for the massive scale and remote location, suggesting the builders possessed capabilities far exceeding later human civilizations. The possibility of ancient water channeling or hydraulic engineering should also be considered, given the gate's proximity to Lake Titicaca. While the gate itself is far above the current waterline, the ancient Titicaca Basin experienced dramatically different water levels in the past.
If the gate dates back to a period when the water level was higher, the structure might have served a role in an ancient hydraulic system, perhaps marking the entry point of a massive canal, a reservoir, or a system designed to regulate water flow for a now lost city. The deliberate carving of the door-like shape could be a symbolic representation of controlling the flow, with the smaller niche acting as a sluice gate key or an indicator for water level measurement. Another compelling, albeit speculative theory suggests that the gate is an ancient form of seismic warning device or stabilizer. The Andean region is one of the most seismically active zones on the planet. The placement of a massive, precisely carved structure in the bedrock could have been intended to interact with the tectonic stress. If the gate's geometry and material composition were carefully engineered, the structure might have been designed to dampen seismic vibrations or, conversely, to act as a sensitive detector that signaled impending geological events. This elevates the ancient builders from mere astronomers or priests to sophisticated geoengineers with the capability to interact with the Earth's deep internal forces. Ultimately, the Gate of the Gods at Hayu Marca is a multifaceted marvel. It embodies the full spectrum and speculation about ancient human history, forcing a continuous dialogue that transcends the traditional boundaries of archaeology. It is a lasting monument to the profound human capacity for both engineering and cosmic imagination, forever challenging our perceptions of who our ancestors were and what they were truly capable of achieving.
The concept of ancient global travel and shared knowledge is often brought up when analyzing the Hayu Marca Gate. Proponents of diffusionist theories suggest that the similarities between this portal legend and myths of interdimensional doors in Egypt, Sumeria, and even Ireland, the Eyes of the Day, point to a period of widespread global contact by a highly advanced, unifying civilization. The recurring motif of a key or disc being used to open a solid rock face suggests that this was not merely parallel mythological development, but the residual memory of a common global technology. If true, the Gate of the Gods is an American piece in a worldwide network of ancient transport or communication terminals, each adapted to local geology but adhering to a universal engineering principle. The potential for solar and lunar alignment at the gate demands further non-invasive research. While initial studies are inconclusive, the precise geometric orientation of the structure in relation to the surrounding mountains suggests that on specific calendar dates, such as the major solstices or equinoxes, the shadow cast by the ridge or the sunlight striking the niches might produce a dramatic intentional effect. This effect could be purely ceremonial, marking the exact moment for a major ritual, or it could be functional, acting as a solar clock or an optical trigger that activates a chemical or energetic process within the rock. The specific time window of a solar or lunar event would provide the natural energy source or timing mechanism required to operate the dormant machine.
And so, we stand before the Gate of the Gods, having traversed the full breadth of its history, from the legends of Amaru Muru and the vanished Golden Key to the whispers of interdimensional physics and the ancient science of the Andes. We have felt the strange hum, sensed the energy of the mountain, and reconciled the monumental fact of the solid 7-by-7-meter stone facade with the powerful, unyielding belief in its function as a stargate.
What began as a mere rock carving in the remote Peruvian highlands has revealed itself to be a nexus point, a philosophical anchor, and a testament to the fact that the most profound boundaries are often those we impose on our own understanding of reality. This gate is not merely an inert monument. It is a dormant machine, a silent piece of evidence left behind by a civilization that achieved what we only dream of: mastery over time, space, and consciousness. The true key to Hayu Marca lies not in recovering a lost disk of gold, but in rediscovering the lost language of energy and sacred geometry spoken by the builders of Tiwanaku and Pumapunku. It beckons us to realize that the stories of gods descending from the stars and kings ascending to other realms were not folklore, but a technical manual transcribed into myth. We may never see the solid rock dissolve into light, nor hear the booming final chord of the cosmic mechanism, yet the gate has already accomplished its final purpose. It has opened the door within our minds. The ultimate secret of the Gate of the Gods is that the universe is never truly sealed. It is only awaiting the courage of those who still believe in impossible doorways.